a passionate instigator and dynamic problem solver. Dr. Kevin Ross Emery, the host of the Dr. Kevin Radio Show, will be taking you outside the box, behind the curtain, and identifying the load of BS we are fed every day. And now, Dr. Kevin.
Hello, 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 and welcome to the Dr. Kevin Show, where every week we will take you outside the box, behind the curtain, and share with you, or have our guests share with you, some load of crap they think's going on in the world today. As always, I'm going to start the show with my hot topic. My hot topic can make me feel warm and fuzzy, or it can get me hot under the collar. Before we get into that and then introduce tonight's guest, I do want to remind you there are two ways that you can show up and be part of this conversation. One is you can call in live at 202-570-7057. Again, that's 202-570-7057. Or you can go to facebook.com/MyDrKevin, MyDrKevin. If you do go and post on My Dr. Kevin while we're on the air, you will see tonight's radio show and tonight's guest and all their connecting links right there. You will be able to comment there. If you are listening to this as a repeat, because I know the show gets repeated 6 more times this week, you can still go on to the facebook.com/MyDrKevin. Make sure you like my page when you're there, because I am a likable guy, if I have to say so myself. And you can still post. If I cannot answer your question, I will reach out to tonight's guest and ask them to go on and answer the question for you. So just because you're listening to this as a replay doesn't mean you still can't be some part of the dialogue. It will just be a Facebook dialogue instead of a live dialogue. So, my hot topic. I'm digressing again because it's going to be a hot and bothered topic. I'm a little hot and bothered by an investigation that just came into the news this afternoon, and it's called the Little Red Pill. And the Little Red Pill is being pushed on the elderly. This little pill, though, it is used for a very specific thing, and it has, and it's a very small percentage of the people that have it, that actually have this. However, the maker of this pill, through paying commissions and paybacks to doctors and nursing homes, have gotten so that this, this condition, I just want you to let this condition afflicts less than 1% of all Americans. Okay? And it's most commonly associated with people who have multiple sclerosis, or ALS. And they have turned this into, they're giving it to people that are suffering from dementia and Alzheimer's. The number of pills rose roughly to 14 million in 2016, a jump of nearly 400% in 4 years. The total sales of it's called Nuedexta, Nuedexta, has reached almost $300 million. And that is a jump, mostly due to the fact that they're giving it to people that cannot advocate for themselves, people in nursing homes. The question is where are the nursing homes doing this? Why are people not questioning more? Why are people not, what? If your relative has dementia or Alzheimer's, it's okay to just let them be abused, be a medical test subject, or be another extra, $400 million or something like that into a drug company's, $300 million into a drug company's wallet, a lot of which is being paid for by the federal government. Why isn't our government looking into this instead of trying to rip off our health care? There's a lot of places that they should be poking up this shit. This story just broke on CNN. I do want to know that I am sharing this from a CNN website. You can go to CNN.com and type in Nuedexta, Nuedexta, and you can see what's going on. It's Avanir, Avanir Pharmaceuticals. And so they are in the hot seat as they should be. This is sad. This is so sad. This is so not right. And when I make comments about the fact that the pharmaceutical industry and the lobbyists who make sure that that it all gets cleaned up and washed up and ignored by Washington, okay, because they are the number one most contributing lobbyist group to Washington, D.C. on every level. They put more money into lobbying so they get away with crap like this. They'll get a slap on the hand. They'll make $300 million, and maybe they'll get a $3 million slap on the hand. So was it worth the risk? Absolutely, because they're still laughing all the way to the bank. We need to be doing more. We need to be speaking out more, and we need to put a stop to the fact that the pharmaceutical companies and through back channels, the AMA, the doctors, and our own federal government on various forms are all on the take to screw over the American people. And the fact they're doing it to people with dementia and Alzheimer's is an all-time low, that this is how they're doing it. So that's my hot topic for the night. I am trying to make sure that we do close the show tonight on an up topic. And I may throw that to tonight's guest. Let me introduce today's guest. Today's guest is Joshua Shapiro. He is one of the Crystal Skull Explorers. We have his website and all of his information on facebook.com/MyDrKevin. So instead of reading you something that you can read on your own, I will actually just bring Joshua on. Joshua, so what do you think about this hot topic? What is wrong with people and the American people that this kind of stuff is happening? What do you think, Joshua?
Dr. Kevin, I'm as concerned about this as you are, especially since my father has dementia, and we just put him this week into assisted living because it was impossible to try to help him. We're not trained to do this. And I was very, very concerned and thought perhaps his condition could have been accelerated by all the different drugs that he had been taking over the various years. I spoke to a nurse who is also a shamanist and very familiar with what these drugs do, and she told me that every single one that he was taking had poison inside of it. So I agree with you 100%. People need to be educated. They cannot count on their doctors to understand what these drugs do because the doctors only know what it resolves, but not the after effect or the other effects that it causes. So I'm with you on this 100%. And this is why for I don't know how many years of my life, I refuse to take any drugs whatsoever. I will not go to a doctor. I will not accept whatever drugs he gives me because every single one has side effects. And it's exactly what you said, I believe, because they're making tons of money, and people at the level who know what's going on that could stop this are not looking at it. So it basically is up to us to educate our friends, our family, and our children. But the problem that I had while I was helping my father is my father would not believe me when I told him these things. And I also had to battle with my brother and sister. And fortunately, some of the drugs he was taking were removed. But I know because before I left with him, there was a little pill compartment for each day of the week. There were more than 10 pills for each day for him to take, and it was ridiculous. So I'm 100% in your corner on this topic, Dr. Kevin. Did you want me to share just a little bit about my background, or we wait to the next segment?
We'll bring that on the next segment. I mean, because we're gonna in about 2 minutes the break's gonna come in, and I have no control over that. So I'm gonna have you to share your background in just a second. I want to share one more thing though. They wanted to put my father into a nursing home because they said that he was having the signs. He was far enough along in dementia he could not be on his own. I went I moved across the country from Seattle, Washington, back to Maine, simply to stay with him because I was not going to put him in a nursing home. And after 3 months of a proper diet, adjusting his medications, cutting back lots of stuff, things like this, his dementia disappeared.
Okay.
And I mean, he died a year later of other health issues, but his dementia pretty much disappeared. They couldn't find it, and he died with his brain working. So I just wanted to share that story with you.
Well, that's what I hope will happen to my father, because it's so disappointing to watch your parent, just lose it. I watched him lose it several times. There was one time where he thought he swallowed his denture, which I know was impossible, but he was choking. He believed it so much, I had to take him to emergency. They x-rayed him, and he calmed down, and he was told there's nothing there. So this is a very sad situation.
Yep, it definitely is. And I just want to say to our listeners out there, if you do have a parent or a loved one of any kind that is suffering from, especially right now, is suffering from dementia or Alzheimer's and is in an institutional setting, go check this thing out. This link, check this link out. I'm going to actually put the link on mydrkevin.com. I'm going to put it underneath this story since it was today's hot topic. Check what this is out. See, is this happening to your parent, to your spouse, or to your loved one? Are you being used? Is the federal government being used? Because the federal government's paying for a lot of these. So check on it. You may be the only person that's between you and your loved one being used as a laboratory rat. We'll be back in just a minute, and we're going to hear all about Joshua Shapiro and where he wants to take us outside the box.
Conscious media for conscious minds. OMTimes. Have you ever wondered how to change your love paradigm? The secret key is finding a love partnership, not just a regular connection. How do you find these? Through conscious relationships. Ascending Hearts Dating is a dating site for people like you that believes in second chances and a different type of spiritual connection. Try Ascending Hearts for free today at ascendinghearts.com and change your love paradigm. Ascending Hearts, the premier dating community for the spiritually awake.
Tune in to The Practical Intuitive, Mind, Body, Spirit for the Real World with me, host Robin Fritz, Mondays at 2 p.m. Pacific, 5 Eastern. I'll cover personal and business intuition, animal communication, mediumship, space clearing, past life regression, shamanic insights, energy healing, soul choice, and more, all to help you tap your own intuitive and healing skills. No ifs, ands, or buts.
Mother, Mother Ocean.
Hi, I'm Jimmy Buffett. West Indian manatees are one of the most unique animals on Earth, and we're still finding out so many new things about them. But manatees are endangered, and many of them are killed or injured each year because of watercraft collisions or other human activities. You can help save these gentle marine mammals. For free tips on what you can do, call Save the Manatee Club at 1-800-432-JOIN. Thank you.
Hello, 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 and welcome back to the Dr. Kevin Show, where we challenge everything and everyone. Remember, this is now a live call-in show, so you can call in and be part of this conversation at 202-570-7057, or you can come to facebook.com/mydrkevin. You will see pinned to the top a lovely picture of tonight's guest with a lovely young lady beside him. Katrina Head, I believe is her name. The Crystal Skull Explorers, Joshua Shapiro and Christina Head, and they share the information about the mysteries of the crystal skulls with photos and all sorts. Joshua is tonight's guest. And so, Joshua, I'd like you to, as we always do here on the Dr. Kevin Show, I'd like you to, you can start by taking a couple minutes and telling people about how you came to do crystal skulls, but I want you to explain them for my listeners a little bit and also take them outside the box about some way in which they may not be what people think they are, or maybe people have no idea what they are. Joshua, can you do that for my listeners?
I would be happy to do so. Thank you, Dr. Kevin. First of all, before I begin, it's very important for your listeners to understand that every question that you want me to answer this evening, not only related to the crystal skulls, but I have a feeling, since I'm a very spontaneous person, I'm going to talk about a number of subjects. They're all going to deal with what is known today as the paranormal or the spiritual. And this is important because this is the perspective that I'm coming from. And the one profound statement that I want to share with your listeners before I get started talking about crystal skulls is that I believe that this aspect of life is a natural part of the aspect of life for every single human being out there, whether they are consciously aware of this or not. And hopefully by the time we finish this radio show, they will understand at least why I believe that. And since I am an author and a speaker and I'm constantly studying all these things, my gift is in words, explaining things simply. So hopefully all these subjects that I may touch tonight, the listeners will be able to understand. And of course, if they have any questions, I thank you for sharing our contact information. We're always happy and free to talk to them. Now about the crystal skulls. Probably the best way to describe them would be to talk briefly about when I met the first one. Even though I was very spiritual at the time, this occurred in 1983 when I was visiting with a friend who had what we would call a metaphysical bookstore, books of this nature that I'm discussing. So I went into her store, and she pulled out this picture of an amethyst crystal skull. Now, I should probably define what I mean by a crystal skull, because I'm sure not everybody has seen the Indiana Jones film, the last one that came out, which dealt with not only one crystal skull, but 13. So we're speaking about an object that looks in the shape of a human bone skull, but it's made out of quartz crystal. And the first crystal skulls that came out, if you're curious, were in the probably 1800s. There were several coming out of Mexico. Some made their way into some museums. And at the point where we are now, people are so fascinated with this that there are actually modern carvers who are making crystal skulls of every type of gemstone you can imagine and all different kind of shapes, not just human, animal shapes, extraterrestrial shapes, stylized shapes. So in my almost 35 years of dealing with this, I've probably seen every type of crystal skull you could imagine, including, since this is kind of a controversial show, some crystal skulls that came through spiritual mediums that did not exist in our physical reality until it came through the medium's body. What I perceive the crystal skulls being, so I don't have time, normally I have hours to talk about this, so I have to summarize it, is not just an inanimate object, which is a piece of stone, but it is animated by a living consciousness or intelligence which communicates with the people that are around it, whether it's the owner or guardian or people who have the opportunity to meet it. Each crystal skull takes on its own personality, has its own energy, if your audience understands what I mean by energy, that it emanates. And so I'm sitting in front of, I'm speaking here, we have about 30 personal crystal skulls, and I'm listening if there is some important message they wish me to share during the radio show. So this is one of my spiritual gifts. I'm very intuitive. I hear things in my mind speaking voice, and I share it. That's how I write. That's how I speak. So I just count on that. You can call it whatever you want. A living spirit being that's talking with me, my higher self, God, whatever it is, but usually the information is true. Now, the other key aspect about the crystal skulls in my opinion. So hopefully this is taking your listeners out of the box here, as you asked me to, is where did they come from and who made them? Because some of the crystal skulls that have been found are so precisely made that we are not sure, even with modern technology today that's only been around for maybe 50 or 60 years, and I'm talking about like lasers that they have developed back in the 60s, their structure and their creation is actually wonderful and amazing. So many people have talked about, could the crystal skulls be? Now, these are some of the theories, which I won't have time to prove. Could they be from Atlantis, when Atlantis had a very advanced civilization, a technology greater than even we have today? Could it be Lemuria? Or are these gifts from the gods? Or further, we have some evidence and proof that there is what we call the inner earth civilization, which is a civilization that lives inside the hollow earth. That means our earth is hollow with openings at the north and the south pole. Could these skulls that come from them, they were left as gifts? Because the message of the crystal skull from day one, when I saw the amethyst back in 1983, San Jose, California, is we are returning to help humanity to create peace. And I absolutely believe it. It guides me in everything I do with the crystal skull. So hopefully that was an interesting enough answer and background information to get your audience started.
Well, so my first question for you, because until my audience asks questions, and sometimes my audience just listens because they know I'll ask questions. So what is the in the limited ways in which we can do dating? I mean, the dating of actual objects. So what is do you know what the oldest crystal skull that's ever been found is? Because they found some of these crystal skulls in like caves and stuff, correct? Am I not correct there?
Yes, around Mayan ruins, ancient Mayan ruins, other ancient civilizations. And some people, it's been passed down from generation to generation. But they have found crystal skulls all over the world. Now, the problem with the dating of an artifact is, if it's made from stone, there is no scientific way to date the stone. The only thing they can do is they can do carbon-14 dating, where they look at, the remains of living people who may have possessed these objects, and they could date them. So there's two dates I'm going to throw out. One is, well, we're dating, the organic remains, so it could be that some of them are several thousand years old. But if you work with spiritual mediums, which is what one of your advertisers was talking about that she is, spiritual sensitives, and they feel the energy and vibration and history of the object in front of them, they say there could be hundreds of thousands of years or millions of years. Especially, what if, and this would really be out of the box, but it's not for me, a being from another dimension actually brought such an object here for us to work with, then we would have no idea whatsoever how old it could be. So age, to me, is irrelevant. It doesn't mean if one of the crystal skulls is thousands of years, this is a more powerful and better crystal skull than, say, the ones which the modern carvers are using diamond tip tools to create. Because I said there's this consciousness that works through this. Quick example of this would be, I have a relatively new crystal skull. It gives us their name. It calls himself Portal de Luz, which means portal of light. He was presented to a very honored Mayan priest from Guatemala, who is one of the few people I know that has their own crystal skulls they are protecting, which could be very old. And Portal de Luz faked the Mayan elder out. He came to me and said, this skull here is an ancient one, meaning very, very old, thousands of years old. It belongs with my people. You need to give it back. And I said, grandfather, I'm sorry. I've met the carver who's made it. It was made very recently. It was the energy and consciousness that was coming out of the skull that fooled the Mayan priest, even him, because he bases what he thinks on the energy around the artifact. And because I had been working with that crystal skull, taking it to crop circles and private spiritual sessions, UFO sites, it had picked up a tremendous energy, and he thought that it was old. So you can't really answer how old. We don't have a scientific way to say. But if you trust me through my soul memory of having worked with crystal skulls in other lifetimes, which is a whole other subject, I would tell you hundreds of thousands or millions of years old. And I might point the oldest one to the Mitchell Hedges crystal skull, which was one of the first to be found, almost an exact duplicate of our human bone skull found near the ruins of a Mayan temple in Belize, but it was called British Honduras at that time, back in the 1940s. Out of all the crystal skulls that I've met in these many years, that is the one crystal skull that I have felt a consciousness and energy around it that's unbelievable and forever changed my life. Basically, what it did when I saw it around the time of the Indiana Jones film, because I was doing interviews with its guardian at the time, is it taught me how to be in the neutral. And that is probably the most important lesson I've ever learned. And it came through being in the presence of that one crystal skull. I will never forget it. So that's the only way I know how to answer your question about age.
Well, and we're going to be, I don't have control of when the breaks come in, and when's going to be coming in about 45 seconds or so, according to my clock. But, here on the Dr. Kevin Show, we have people that have all different levels of spirituality. And some people that are out there that are seekers, when we talk about something like a physical age, or say, well, these were being made thousands of years ago, and they've looked at them that they've been around for thousands of years, that's going to open their mind to additional information more, because not only do I have your serious spiritual students that listen to the Dr. Kevin Show, but I have your spiritual seekers. And, we're brought up in a life of doubting Thomases. And so I try to always get people to open them up with some of what are the facts. So we know that these have been around. They go back to sites that are thousands of years old, that, that there is an energy. Now, I agree with you. Something that's brand new can have as much energy or more as something that's old. But we'll be right back, because that's our music.
The Real Conscious Connection. OMTimes Radio. IOM FM. The number one reason girls drop out of school in sub-Saharan Africa is lack of access to feminine hygiene products. The Pads for Schoolgirls Project, an outreach of Humanity Healing International, is changing this paradigm by setting up sewing programs at schools, teaching girls a vocational skill, while producing the reusable pads that help keep them attending classes. The girls pay it forward by making and giving pad kits to other girls in need. To learn more, visit humanityhealing.org. Humanity Healing is where your heart is.
Hi, I'm Kelly Fox, host and astrologer of The Astrology Show. Each week, I'll give you access to the current transits, which are a valuable tool that provide astrological information to help unlock the potential each of us has. Understanding the stars can help steer us in the right direction to make better informed choices. So if you're wondering what's going to happen in your week ahead, be sure to tune in to The Astrology Show for guidance, Mondays at 9 p.m. Eastern Time.
This is why you work so hard to pay the mortgage. Because home is more than four walls and a roof. It's that porch swing on a summer evening. It's everybody over for Sunday dinner, and your family sleeping in their own beds at night. Making Home Affordable is a free government resource that can make paying the mortgage easier. Call 888-995-HOPE or visit makinghomeaffordable.gov.
Good night, Mama.
This is why. Brought to you by the U.S. Treasury, HUD, and the Ad Council.
Hello, 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 and welcome back to the Dr. Kevin Show. Tonight I have Joshua Shapiro on the show. He is a crystal skull explorer expert, and he also works with the skulls as a intuitive or as a voice at times for the skulls. I'm not sure exactly what your preferred language is, Joshua. If you'd like to be part of tonight's conversation, you may call in at 202-570-7057, or you can go to facebook.com/MyDrKevin, like the page, and leave your comment there, and we'll bring it on air. So Joshua, what I was saying, did that make sense about that, that these things help us to get more people to open up when we can quote those things?
Absolutely, and this is what I have personally seen. Like, we do these sessions where we have the crystal skulls and we're doing intuitive readings, and I watch how the people are responding to the energy for the crystal skull they bring, and they go through an awakening and opening. And to me, I would say that would be one of the key aspects of the crystal skulls. They have returned, they told me they have returned to awaken humanity to who we truly are as spiritual beings, which is what I said I believe and will be discussing. So they are one of the greatest tools we have for doing that. And that's why I have great love and respect from them. Absolutely, you're right on, Dr.
So I'm gonna go right out on a limb here. And I'm going to see if any of those crystal skulls that you are sitting with right now have a message for me, and that's going to help me go out and do what I do in the world.
Okay, so Portal de Luz is the one that has my attention, which is the one I talked about. Let me describe to you what he looks like so you know which one is speaking. He's a 10-pound light smoky quartz skull. However, when I received him in the beginning, he was dark smoky quartz. And he's almost an exact duplicate of a human bone skull because his carver is Brazilian, and he's very, very talented and very, very good, although he told me that the spirit that works through the skull told him how to carve it. So the message from Portal de Luz for you specifically, Dr. Kevin, is that you're on the right track. What you're doing with your show, I mean, this is the first time I've heard your show, but I hear from your voice your intention to share with people good information, knowledge about what's going on many levels, and openness to spirit. So basically what he's saying to me is that you're doing a great job, but you don't have enough confidence in what you're doing. In other words, sometimes there's some doubt or some feeling, I don't know if I should go into this subject or whatever. What you have to do, which really all of us have to do, is you have to trust in yourself. If you're feeling strongly about something, regardless of how people may respond to what you're going to share, you should go ahead and do it anyway. Now, I understand that completely because I was born in Aries, and I tell people that, like, for example, in the crystal skull world, there are people who love me and people who hate me, and that's the way it's going to be for the rest of my life. For the very fact that I talk about the subjects that I do, there will be people who will love me and people who will hate me. I can't worry about it because the key is whenever you're sharing something, there will always be the right audience to hear the message that you have to give. And the messages that you're giving are excellent and good. Trust in it. Go with it. But even maybe challenge yourself even more. Come up with even more absurd topics or things that you want to bring in. And just trust you're being guided to do it correctly, and the right audience will be there to hear you. So that's the essence of what I hear him saying for you, Dr. Kevin. I don't know if it makes any sense, but, you're doing a great job. He's like really happy that we had this chance to be on your show, and especially to work with you, because that's what we're doing today. We're all working together.
Well, what you said, obviously, as a public figure, there is always, as I challenge my own personal clients and students, that sometimes we get to say what we want to say the way we want to say it, and sometimes we have to say it in a way in which we know that at least some part, if not all of it, will get heard. So that's always a delicate line that, when we're dealing with subjects that make people uncomfortable or that may stretch comfort zones or may come up against a traditional upbringing that, wants to tell them to be naysayers, even if it feels correct in their heart and their soul, that, sometimes we do curtail the language a little, or we do something to see, can we get a door open? Can we get one stream of light into the darkness? Because if you get one stream in, then they will crave another one. So thank you for sharing that message. So this segment is called Behind the Curtain, and it's where I ask people to expose a truth to the world that they think around whatever they want. I mean, you're a crystal skull explorer. It could be around a crystal skull. It could be around the cream filling and Oreos. You're not limited to any topic, just so you know. But where you would like to expose something that you think has got twisted and that people don't get the real truth of in today's world.
Okay, so I'm going to go with what I'm currently doing with Bitcoins, because this is a digital currency that has as many people who are in favor of it as they have people who are against it and think that it's nothing. So I want to go there because every person I talk to, I'm recommending they look at this. So first, let me define what it is, and then I'll define what the controversy is, and then I'll tell you why I think this is extremely important for everyone. So Bitcoin is the name of the first digital currency that was ever created, which means it has no paper money, no coins. It's all done through the Internet. When it first came out in 2009, it was released. Each Bitcoin was worth pennies. It was cited that the first thing that was purchased with Bitcoin was pizza with 10,000 Bitcoins, because they were worth like each 2 or 3 cents each. Today, what's very interesting, that we're talking today, for the very first time in the history of Bitcoins, the value of one Bitcoin went over $5,000. And I had people I know who were telling me this was going to happen, and I expected it, but it went up to $5,300 at one point. So why is this important? Why are so many people talking about this? Why are many people wanting to have this? How does it have any value if it's a digital currency? And why are some very wealthy people like Bill Gates have said Bitcoins are unstoppable? So why are they investing in this? And why now are many companies getting ready to accept this as the currency for you to buy their products and services? Okay, well, first of all, Bitcoins would have no value if, just like a foreign currency, you couldn't convert it into the currency where you live. Like I live in the United States, so I'm buying and selling Bitcoins with dollars. I've actually used the Bitcoins that I've received to pay bills. It's unheard of. But once I convert it into there, I've been able to pay bills. But the people who are against this say, well, this is nothing. It's a fad. It's going to disappear. It doesn't matter if it's been around for 9 years. It doesn't matter that they've perfected the system to make sure it's secure and so on. It doesn't matter that the banks and the governments, and this is the key, the banks and the governments have no say whatsoever what happens around this. So here's why this is a good thing. How many of us who are listening to this call have made a wish silently and said, I wish that our financial system would change because the wealthier are getting wealthier and the poor and the middle class are getting poorer? What if we could have a new financial system or a new currency that created a level playing field where it doesn't matter who you are or how much money you have, that you have the potential to work with this new currency, to use it to pay for all your bills, to do everything that you have to do. And, and possibly, because the experts are saying within 5 to 10 years, this one Bitcoin, which is $5,300 today, could be worth $1 million in the future. And why that is because the creator of Bitcoins, who I think was inspired by Spirit, he came up with like a genius system of how to create this, and he put it out as a paper, and then programmers executed it, and that's where we are today. He knew that he had to only allow so many Bitcoins to be created. We don't have time to explain how the Bitcoins are created because that's even amazing for me, and I have a computer background. but within about 5 or 6 years, they will create no more Bitcoins, which will put it in demand. So the reason I'm talking about this is because every single human being, now I'm very passionate about this. I've become an evangelist. I only started doing this since April. But if your listeners pay attention to what I'm saying, I don't like to force people. I don't try to convince people. But I'm going to make a very, very powerful statement right now. If every single human being listening to this radio show who has not gotten involved in either these Bitcoins or there are other coins, they call them altcoins or cryptocurrency for everything. If you haven't looked at this, if you haven't gotten involved, especially with Bitcoins, you need to do this right now. It's coming, it's on the wall, and I personally have gone through many different aspects of it. I never thought I would do this. You know, I'm a crystal skull explorer. What I'm doing with alternative currencies and finances and things. The only thing I have in my favor is I know computers. I'm very good at math. I always know how much money I have at every instant of time. But how did I get involved in this? It's because Spirit told me in April, it said to me, Joshua, this is coming. You need to get started now, and you will be amazed at what happens. And the amount of Bitcoins that came from a very small investment here 6 months later has me amazed. It's like magic. So Spirit proved to me that this is coming. So the naysayers are saying it has no value, nobody's going to use it, it's going to fall apart, it's not going to keep this value. If you buy them, you'll lose a lot of money. If you look at the graph, this is the final thing I'll say, if you look at a graph from day zero to where it's gone today, it's like stock. It goes up and down. I've watched it go up and down, but it always goes up, and it's going to continue to go up. And this is what could empower so many people if they get involved in it. So that's all I can say. I just started my own blog site where I'm doing something I haven't seen anyone else do. I'm sharing day by day, moment by moment, how this happened to me. I'm just a regular person. I'm nobody special. And I have a blog that people can read, and they can see how I got started with this. And I'm not caught up. I'm only back in June and July, and so much has happened since July with this, and it just keeps expanding and exploding. So this is what I would say is what I feel inspired to share in this moment. It's very important.
Okay, and we just got our music, and we'll be back in just a minute for the last segment of the Dr. Kevin Show.
Feed your soul with waves of consciousness on OMTimes Radio. Host your show on IOM-FM, the radio network of OMTimes Media, one of the more recognized brand names in the conscious community, and is backed by the extensive marketing reach of OMTimes. Hosting a show on IOM-FM immediately connects you with our extensive dedicated community.
Eros Evolution is where sexuality and spirituality meets. Join me, clinical sexologist Martha Tara Lee, on Eros Evolution on Thursdays, 4 p.m. Eastern on OMTimes Radio.
Every 2 minutes, an American is sexually assaulted. The majority of victims know their attacker. It could be your friend, your neighbor, or someone you met at a party. If you said no, it's rape, and it's a crime. This is Christina Ricci with RAIN. Call the National Sexual Assault Hotline today at 1-800-656-HOPE or visit RAIN.org. That's RAINN.org.
Brought to you by RAIN and this station.
Hello, 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 and welcome back to the last segment of the Dr. Kevin Show, where we challenge everything and everyone. Today we've been challenging everything from crystal skulls to Bitcoins with none other than Joshua Shapiro. If you want to read more about Joshua Shapiro, you can come to facebook.com/mydrkevin. Joshua, I'm going to have you go on to My Dr. Kevin underneath this post, if you would like, and put on your put on your blog the link to your blog site so people can read what the experiences you are having with the Bitcoin industry. Can you do that?
On your Facebook?
Yep.
Unfortunately,
put it right on.
I don't have access to a computer at the moment. I had to turn it off. It was making too much noise. But I will do it after the show.
After the show. So come to facebook.com/MyDrKevin. Make sure you like the page, and he's going to post the link to his blog so you can see what's been going on with it. Also, if you would like to call in, our live call-in number is 202-570-7057. Again, that's 202-570-7057. We'd like to hear any comments or questions that you have. So, Joshua, this last segment is called "What a Load of Crap" with Dr. Kevin, and it's this is your time to share with my listeners on any subject that you would like, what you think is going on in the world that's a load of crap today. Again, Joshua does specialize in crystal skull. He's a crystal skull explorer, and you can find more information about him at crystalskullexplorers.com, and that link is on the Facebook page. So, Joshua, what load of crap do you want to expose my listeners to?
UFO disclosure. Recently on Facebook, so this is for your listeners too, I was inspired to do a 4-part Facebook Live show related to UFOs and UFO disclosure. And on that show, what I was doing was I was looking at the history of things that were happening in the past. Then I went to modern history and focused on the United States and Germany, because as far as I can tell, they've been having contact with extraterrestrials, whether it's through radio or physical meetings, since the 1930s. So the reason I would label this crap is it's very evident to me. I can't speak for other people, but I know there are a lot of other people who agree with this, that we have all around us every day other intelligent beings that did not originate on this planet. But this is the other reason why I think disclosure is necessary, because many people say, I would like to know, where do we come from? What is the origin of humanity? What is our relationship to the universe? And this question cannot be answered without considering the UFO issue and the beings who have visited here. And if you talk to like the indigenous people on the planet, which I've had opportunity to do in my travels, they all have their legends of the star people who came down and taught them and various things. And when you listen to them, if you will listen to them and not look at them as simple people. They're not simple people. I've listened to some of the elders talk about a star language which is so advanced it's not possible that they could have come up with it without having some contact. So the reason why I think this is crap is because what if everything, because this is what my research has showed, every aspect of our life has been affected by the contact over thousands of years with other intelligent beings. Now, the other thing that we have to look at is who are these beings, if they exist, where are they coming from, what are their intentions? And it's the same as humanity. If you walk down the street, you're going to meet a person that's very nice, very caring, who you could call a friend. You'll meet somebody else who's an angry person, who's very destructive. He has no friends. He just wants to create chaos. And then you'll meet some people, hopefully I would be in this group, who are kind of neutral. They're not for or against anyone. They just accept where people are at. Well, I think that exists within these galactic beings visiting us that we also have had contact with all three groups. Now, a lot of people talk about this, and I believe this right now, that unfortunately the governments in charge who are into power and domination and being in control of people sided with some of the extraterrestrial groups who did not have humanity's best interest at heart. But that doesn't mean just because they made this mistake, and they didn't consult us, by the way, if we should do this or not. They decided for us that it's hopeless because there are many benevolent and loving extraterrestrial beings around us who know what the destiny of our planet is, which is what I see when I work with the crystal skulls, and I see when I do meditation, which is that we're going to head for a time of absolute and utter peace. Now, for many people, they might say, well, that sounds good. Maybe you've had a vision of the future, which I have had. But, you know, look at what's going on our planet right now. We still have wars going on. We still have a lot of people who are suffering. They don't have enough food to eat. We've had these disasters happening. The countries aren't working together. The United States has a crazy man for a president. We don't know what he's going to do. We don't know what the premier of Russia is going to do when the crazy president does what he does. But I believe, because I want to leave your show with a positive message, my future self, so now I'm going overboard a little bit here, who's one of my spirit guides. He's who I become. I'd say 2037, 2040, so that's not too far from now. He shows me a vision of our future, and I see that our planet eventually has peace. But this peace is going to be a combination of working with other groups, which include these galactic beings, which include Sasquatch, which are in a different dimension of the Earth, which include descendants of the advanced civilizations I spoke about before, who are living in underground cities called the Gartha Network, and the inner world people I talked about before. All of this is in the process of coming out. Now, my proof for this is if a person goes on YouTube and starts watching videos, because you see, we have these little devices we call mobile phones. They're acting as video cameras. And they are recording unbelievable occurrences and activities happen that are going on right now, like spaceships appearing in the sky. Even seen some where spaceships are firing down on military installations. Or some people are showing pictures of extraterrestrials that are here. So what I'm trying to tell your listeners about this, it's time for this information to come out. It is coming out by people who have worked on the secret projects behind the scenes for many years, but none of the government, well, I shouldn't say that, the Brazilian government, I think the Belgian government, they've come out and shared their UFO cases and so on. But this is the truth of what's happening, and the sad part of it is there are two realities around us. There's the 9 to 5 where people are sleeping and they're not paying attention, and there's this other reality where we're having contact with some of the most unbelievable beings you can imagine who know information and knowledge of the universe that I think we all need to know. So I would say this is the thing I see, that something is going to break soon. Whether the governments like it or not, I keep hearing in my head the extraterrestrials telepathically saying, if they don't reveal our presence, there's going to come a day where we'll just come out and show everybody who we are. I think the Pleiadians, who look a lot like us, is probably the group that will do that, because they love us. They've had contact with us for a long time. So that's kind of my feeling on what I think is going on, and it's going to happen sooner than people think. So I'll leave it at that. But I see it as very positive, because I rather live in the world and know the truth of the world that I live in. And the world that we live in, as far as I can tell, has had contact with galactic beings for thousands and thousands of years. They didn't leave like ancient aliens said. They've stayed here. They have bases here. And there are even reports that some of them are walking amongst us and we don't even know it. So something about this is going to come out. And hopefully some people in the government will say, you know, we hid it for 80 years. It's time to tell the truth and let it go where it goes. Even if people don't trust us anymore, we have to let this information out. So that would be what I would say to answer this question.
Well, so the first thing is that I do want to share with you, and I think, you know, I get my, you know, my listeners come in and out as far as it's always a changing number. But for those of you, for those who are not aware of it, I do have a book out called Experiment Earth, and in large portions of it, I was channeling an extraterrestrial as one of the primary voices in the book. And I will put a link to that book on the site as well. But he said through me 20 years ago that just because they're alien does not make them good, that they have agendas just like humans do. You have to be aware of what is the agenda. Don't take things at face value. And so some of what you're saying now, because that book, Experiment Earth, came out in 1995. And some of what you just said right now were things that he said back then.
So that's been going on for a long time, but I see it shifting now because Mother Earth's vibrational frequency is getting higher and higher. There are a lot of, let's call us ET beings who have incarnated into the Earth. We call them star people and wanderers who are waking up. There are people in the ships that are above them, are working with them, and we have these young children who are very wise. And it's like they know things. I've met some of them. They blow me away what they know that are being born now. So there is a transformation that is going on towards a more peaceful, harmonious, light planet. But extraterrestrials is a key. It's like you need some catalytic moment. See, I had an experience where I was in a coma in Las Vegas, and I remember being in a meeting with thousands of different extraterrestrials. And there was a screen in the front of the room, and they were talking about how can we help our brothers and sisters on the Earth? What scenario can we come up with? So they recognize who they are and what's going on in the universe, and it's not done in a fearful way. And apparently I was there because I was still in my body. I must have been in my light body while I was
and
there.
And our music has started. Our listeners can no longer hear you. Thank you for coming, Joshua.